And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Tuesday, September 22nd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is a Tuesday morning, and we are, of course, on the air for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And the good news that we brought you last week here was that the Vanderbilt Center for Women's Health is coming to Lebanon, is here. The Vanderbilt Center for Women's Health, dedicated to delivering the highest quality care to women in all stages of life, right here in Lebanon, Tennessee. They provide a wide range of obstetrical and gynecological care, including annual well woman exams and pap smears, preventive screenings, pregnancy care and delivery, and also offer same-day appointments. The Women's Health Team is committed to caring for you and your unique needs, and if more advanced services are needed, choosing Vanderbilt Center for Women's Health in Lebanon ensures continuity of care from the experts in more advanced specialties. We also mentioned a couple of weeks back that the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center as Wilson County Radiation Oncology Services available now for patients in Wilson County. Their goal is to be your trusted partner in providing quality, convenient cancer care for patients. A nationally renowned cancer center, that is the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center, Tennessee's only NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center, treating patients of all ages and providing access to innovative clinical trials. Experienced on-staff board-certified radiation oncologist, the latest and most advanced radiation technology, pinpoint precision, treatment of all types of cancers, highest quality protocol and technology in the industry, and convenient, real-time access to clinical data for patients through the Vanderbilt Health Connect. So, they say, let's do great things together. Hospitals are for healing, new life, and recovery. They're places of innovation, learning, and exploration. But more than anything, hospitals are really about one thing: community. And Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital is honored to serve this community, Wilson County, and want to be a part of all great things that are happening here. Well, with that, we're about 6 minutes after the hour, and my guest this morning is Rob Cesternino. And this is time given to him as we're doing the other candidates for mayor. And Rob is on the telephone this morning. And Rob Cesternino, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Now, what was that you said about the Yankees a few minutes ago?
You know, my sainted Yankees are in the playoffs again. I know it's a very common place for us to be, but, you know, Sunday we had the opportunity to set the all-time record for consecutive defeats of the Red Sox because we beat them 12 times in a row. Half the street, but...
Congratulations, I guess.
Good day to be a Yankee fan, I'm just saying.
Well, Rob, it is of necessity that you're on the telephone this morning, and I'll let you explain it if you'd like to.
Absolutely. Well, we had a positive COVID-19 test in a family, so we're doing the quarantine like everything else, and it was a rough road to hoe. I mean, I was bedridden for over a week, lost 11 pounds. I mean, it hit home to us. I mean, we believe in masks, we believe in social distancing, we just believe in following the policies and procedures. I think that comes from being a military family, and you know, the military, there's no nonsense. When you go on the base for the Tennessee National Guard, you're masking and you're social distancing, and you know, but the best laid plans of mice and men sometimes go awry, and we were waylaid, as they say, with the illness, and so we're in the last few days of our quarantine process.
All right. You are one of four candidates for mayor of the city of Lebanon, with the election, of course, coming up on Tuesday, November 3rd. So I'm going to start out this morning. Tell us, I know that you've been here with us on the radio. You've been part of the government of Lebanon. But tell us about yourself, anything you'd want the voters to know about Rob Cesternino.
Sure. Well, my family and I, we went out to Seattle for a couple of years. We spent about 20 years in Atlanta. That's actually where I graduated high school. And we got promoted to run the Pacific Northwest for a very large service industry. I was responsible for the growth and the expansion into Washington, Oregon, and later focused on Idaho and Montana. And so we were promoted from Atlanta. We went out there. When we were out there, we were pretty successful, but the company got sold. So we always knew we'd come back south. So we picked Nashville because Nashville reminded us of Atlanta in the 80s. When I graduated high school in Atlanta, I remember we were under 1 million people. Metro Atlanta was under 1 million people, and now it's 5.5 million. And we were looking for a place to live, and the square in Lebanon reminded me so much of the square in Marietta, where I had come from. So we set our roots down here. We made Lebanon our forever home about 14 years ago. Made a lot of good friends here, was accepted into the community, was elected to the city council. I served 2 terms for the 3rd ward from 2010 to 2018, and then also during my 2 terms, I was elected twice mayor pro tem, which is essentially to serve as the deputy mayor. I'm a staunch proponent of term limits, fiscal responsibility, and limited government. So when I served the council, Coleman, I live by the motto, 2 when I'm through, 3's not for me. So I said I would only serve 2 terms, and at the end of my 2 terms, I rolled off.
Okay.
Here we are.
Why are you running for mayor of Lebanon? Why do you want to be our next mayor?
Coleman, it's about service. The city of Lebanon's at a crossroads. We are not the sleepy little 20,000 plus community. We're banging down the door of 40,000 people. We're going to be part of Metro Davidson County. City of Lebanon is now a business organization with over 500, heading towards 600 employees, multiple departments, a budget that exceeds $50 million every year. We are no longer in the position where you can elect the local guy that everybody likes or everybody knows the family name. We need experienced, results-oriented, credentialed leadership to take Lebanon to the next level.
All right. Usually when someone tosses their hat into the ring, so to speak, you either don't like some things that are going on or you think you can do a better job. And sometimes it's a combination of the two. Comment on that, if you will.
I actually think, unfortunately, nowadays, too often when people are running for office, they're running for what they're against and not what they believe in. I believe that every single person that puts their hat in for office is trying to do the right thing. I believe that even when I disagree staunchly with people's decisions, I don't question their character. I question their decision. And I just think that leadership is such a critical role, and it's about experience. We were gut punched on the 3rd of March with some weather that just rocked the city. Then we were immediately hit again with a global pandemic. Coleman, I'm a graduate of FEMA's Emergency Management Institute. I've led businesses through the downturn of 2008. I've had to make tough decisions. I've been in the seat. I've had to make those calls, and I've also seen what happens when the right decisions aren't made. I like Bernie. I like him. I mean, my son likes him. Sometimes I think my son likes him more than he likes me. But because Bernie's such a nice guy. But these are tough decisions, and I just think that we really need to move past the local guy who everybody knows and everybody likes, and hey, let's vote for him because we like him.
Are there some decisions that have been made that you strongly disagree with, you would have done differently and maybe much differently? It kind of sounds like that in some of what you're saying here.
You know, Coleman, 2 terms as a mayor pro tem. We built the rainy day fund. I refer to it as we don't know what the heck to do with the money fund. We have a substantial amount of money sitting in there. We have no plan on how to use this money. And yet we're going to raise property taxes 41% in the best economy that we've ever had. To me, that meets President Reagan's definition of we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. Because we're making more money as a city than we had ever made, but yet we still needed 41%. And I think that my biggest concern is I always hear in our local government talking about the next big thing. I was brought up on a farm, Coleman. My grandpa always told me, take care of what you have. And I don't hear enough discussion about what we're doing with all this money that we have and all these things to take care of the people that live in Lebanon today and the businesses that are here today. I hear conversations and I hear tag words about smart growth and protecting identity. Well, let's clean our streets. Let's get the grass out of our sidewalks. Let's get a community center and parks for our kids to play. Let's take care of the people that are already here today. That's what I want my focus to be.
All right. Do you? We do have a pretty good amount in reserve. Do you feel like we don't need that much, or?
Well, Coleman, it's referred to as the rainy day fund.
Yep.
It's the 3rd of March. How much harder do we think it can rain in the city of Lebanon? It is one of the most crazy times in the history of our world, and what has been done to take care of those of us that live here? What has been done with that money? The perception is, and whether it's reality or not, is every time you drive by the mansion and you see 3 maintenance trucks, that's where your tax dollars are going. Now, whether that's factual or not, perception is everybody's reality. We built a park, a quote-unquote pocket park, and I've never seen a kid play on it. And why didn't we take that pocket park and put it over in the 2nd ward in the minority community that doesn't have anything? If we have all this money sitting in the bank in Coleman, we have a lot of money in the bank. We need to be verbalizing some plans. It's not just wringing that money tightly, saying we can't let go, we can't let go. It's a crisis, we need it. Well, if we're in the middle of a crisis, let's use that money for the people. Let's focus. Let's clean our city up. Let's make it so it doesn't look dirty. When you drive down 7th and you see those sidewalks, we shouldn't see grass growing through the sidewalks. We shouldn't drive over bridges where there's still brush caught in the underside of the bridges from the last time it flooded. We need to take care of what we have.
All right, we need to take a break right here. Rob Cesternino, candidate for mayor of Lebanon, is with us this morning, and we'll have more discussion with Rob after this break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford and regular oil change, $24.95 up to 5 quarts of oil. Tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. It's been eventful out here in the last few minutes with a couple of wrecks in their clearing stages, like that one at Bell Road at Murfreesboro Pike. 24 still got a steady flow of traffic coming in from Rutherford County on a few wrecks we had earlier. Traffic leaving Dixon County right now. Not too bad on I-40 eastbound coming past 840. Hey, check out the new Andre Chicken Sandwich, now available at Prince's Hot Chicken, online at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
The 2020 Titans have all grown up together. They've had a taste of success in the playoffs, and they're back with Derrick Henry.
Henry 20, Henry 10.
Ryan Tannehill at quarterback.
Tannehill keeping around right in, driving, he's in.
A stout defense.
Titan ball.
And a head coach in Mike Vrabel who's ready to lead them.
Brought to you by Steve Moll Plumbing and the Jewelers.
LHS, Cumberland University, and the Tennessee Titans. The winning teams are on WANT 98.9.
Coleman and Company, we thank you for joining us, and if you just turned our way, we want you to know that Rob Cesternino is on the phone this morning, and he's talking about his candidacy for mayor of Lebanon. Rob, you've expressed yourself very well here. I think where you're coming from. Are there other issues, and maybe some major issues that we need to address this morning from your point of view?
Absolutely, Coleman. You know, we keep talking about, the generalities. We're talking about, well, we want a smart growth, we want to manage growth, but then there's no specifics. Coleman, when I go in there, when I was sent to Seattle to expand our market, we had specific assets that were related to our product, and that's what we sold. Lebanon has to sell its assets. You this morning talked about one of the strongest assets the city of Lebanon has, which is the Vanderbilt hospital system. Then we have an airport. We have Cumberland University, an institution of higher learning. We have the Music City Star with, right now, 3 stops in the city. We had interstate access with four exits coming off the interstate. Those are assets that were located to the lakes. These are the assets that when we are encouraging people to look at Lebanon, we need to sell those assets. We need to get in a room with Vanderbilt University and say, okay, can we create some medical improvement zones to create some things around the hospital to stimulate your presence here? RTA, we need to be talking to the Music City Star. What can we do to get the Friday train back? We need to be having discussions with organizations like the Road Builders Society. I hear people talk about the 2040 plan, and if I'd have been on that, one of the people I would have wanted on there was the Tennessee Road Builders Association, because they have computations and they can explain to us roads. The number one thing that we use in this city that people just don't think about are roads. With every single person that comes to this town with a car, we have roads. Well, Coleman, what's the average cost of a road? What's the average life cycle of a road? What's the average maintenance that we have through the life cycle of our road? What's it take to keep the city? When I first got elected, we were like on a 90-year paving cycle. This poor lady called me. She said, Rob, they haven't paved my street in 30 years. I said, well, Miss McNabb, don't worry about it, because your great-granddaughter's going to get a new street. But until then, you're just going to have to hold out. I mean, it's because we have no plan. We have to develop maintenance plans for our roads. We have to look at, I'm a finance guy, vehicles. At what time does our vehicle fleet get so large? Well, we should no longer be buying vehicles, but we should be leasing everything that we have. These are rotation of equipment, rotation of personnel, rotation of making sure that we've got the tools and the technology to attract and retain the best workforce. These are discussions that we need to be having. These are things that we need to be after.
Can you do what you're talking about doing and managing and taking care of the necessities here and do all that with the money that is currently available?
Well, Coleman, the first thing I'm going to have to do in there is any finance guys, we're going to have to get in there and we're going to have an audit conducted, because I haven't seen the books in a couple of years. Now, when I was the mayor pro tem and I worked with Commissioner of Finance, Robert Springer, we were doing great things. We took all our bonds, we changed all the interest rates, we got everything lowered down. We were putting money into the OPEB funds, which is the unfunded liability for retirees. I mean, we were actually socking money away for that stuff and paying down the debt and dropping our interest rates, and we were doing smart things and managing our money like we needed to be. We were doing some inter-service loans between the general fund and the enterprise fund to save the taxpayers. When I first got elected, every year you were talking, with the budget, you were also talking water and sewer rate increases. Probably one of the biggest things I did on the council that nobody even thinks about is Robert Springer and I worked, and we changed the water and sewer rates. And since then, it's probably been half a decade since the average citizen's gotten a water or sewer rate increase. So I've got to get in there and look at where we are. But I truly believe that we can, because just 2 years ago when I left with Commissioner Springer, we were in great shape. We were making smart decisions. We were making good financial decisions. And the thing that we have to remember, Coleman, and I'm going to steal this from Governor Haslam to paraphrase him, I want to go in there and do the most conservative thing you can do, which is give you, the taxpayer, $1 worth of service for $1 worth of tax. Because that's truly all you want. You want to be taxed fairly, and you also want to think that, hey, okay, my taxes went up, but I've seen an increase. The city looks cleaner. They're pressure washing the sidewalks. They're paving some streets. People want to see where their tax dollars are going. I think I can do that.
All right. Let me ask you about the growth issue here. We hear about smart growth, this kind of thing. We know that more people are wanting to locate here. We know that builders, contractors want land. They're many times wanting to have smaller acreage, smaller lots, this sort of thing. People who have larger ones, more established neighborhoods, don't like something like this coming in, and there's kind of been I think a constant fight to keep those out as much as possible. And it's really up to the city council and I guess the mayor and the mayor's leadership here as to how we handle that. What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, Coleman, we have to have a plan. Like, right now on the books today, If every single apartment was built that has already been approved but not yet been started in the city, we're banging down nearly 2,000 apartments, Coleman, that have already been approved. 2,000. With everything and all the complaints about apartments that people have right now, there are 2,000 sitting there on the books that haven't been built yet that have been approved. I mean, Rick and Jack, I think they're selling some land down there off of 2135 Lebanon Road to Gross Builders, and that's another 500 just on the third of that property right there. We have to create an overlay of where we want these apartments. When I was in the 3rd Ward, in my 8 years there, we had one apartment complex came in, and then we had multiple discussions with Gross, and it was right off the interstate. It was in a non-obtrusive area. It minimized the impact. It gave the people that were living there access to get right on the interstate. We have to plan and manage, and we have to not be afraid to say no.
Let me ask you another thing about the people who work for the city of Lebanon, and especially those who commissioners who are in charge of various things. Are there changes if you come in? I mean, sometimes a new mayor will pretty much clean house as much as possible. Are you basically satisfied with the personnel we have now for the city?
Let me tell you something, Coleman. The worst thing you can do as a leader, change is scary. So if you have people are already on eggshells. If there's change, the worst thing you can go in there is be the queen of hearts off of their heads. I'm not going to make a single personnel change. Won't do it. Every single person there cares about this community. They have the competence to do the job, but what they need is the leadership. They need experienced leadership that comes in and say, okay, here's my goals and objectives, but as well as telling them what I'm going to look at from them, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, what are 3 things that you need today that you don't have? If I could give you a blank check for 3 things that you need, what would you like? Also, what are the 3 things your department does really well? And then also, if you could make changes and improvements, what are the 3 things that you would change in your departments tomorrow? We've got to include them in the process, make sure that they're stakeholders, let them understand that while there's new leadership, there's a team, and that their experience, their knowledge adds value to the city. We're not going to change a single position.
All right, one final thing, and then we'll let you kind of wrap up and summarize. But there's been talk about Lebanon's identity, and can we keep Lebanon's identity and our uniqueness? And how do you feel about that?
Coleman and I moved to Atlanta in 1983. Moved out to the suburb of Marietta, Georgia, then moved back into Buckhead and graduated high school. You have an unrealistic expectation to think that Lebanon, people that are lifelong Lebanon, that remember when Lebanon was 15, 16, 17,000, when Lebanon is banging down 40, 50, 60,000. Coleman, I used to be able to get, I live by Cumberland University. I used to be able to get to Sports Village in a few minutes. Now I'm like, baby, I got to drive all the way across town to go to Sports Village. I mean, you have to be realistic. You want to manage your growth, and the best way for us to manage growth for the city is to be fair and consistent, to build a quality product that focuses on walkability, that we're not going to cross-cut entire lots of land and allow every tree to be gutted like I've seen recently. You're going to be required to maintain green space. You're going to have walkability. You're going to have quality of life amenities, and you're going to have fair but consistent design standards. But then you're also going to have a city that isn't looking to put up roadblocks, but they're really looking to partner with the people that want to be in Lebanon.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes for you to wrap it up this morning, summarize your candidacy, and tell our listeners why you think you should be the next mayor of Lebanon.
Well, Coleman, I appreciate the time. As I told you on the break, we started out talking about the Yankees, so anything we talked about after was going to go downhill. Please, ladies and gentlemen, my candidacy it's a candidacy about detail. It's about experience. It's about leadership. I'm a staunch believer in term limits. If you elect me, you would only get the opportunity to elect me and then reelect me once, because I would not serve any more than 8 years. I believe in experience. Leadership matters. Leadership acts. We have to take some action. We have to stop talking about things. People are looking for leadership that is going to take action. They're looking for leadership that's going to say, hey, enough apartments. They're looking for leadership that's going to answer their questions, that is going to be responsive to their needs. And I think that I provide that leadership. I provided that leadership on the city council for 8 years. I was elected again to be the mayor pro tem twice. I'm a Department of Defense certified financial manager. Managing your checkbook is one of the most important roles of government, and there is no one that is a candidate for mayor right now that has more credentials from a financial standpoint than I do. When early voting starts, I would ask for your vote. If you have any more questions about my platform, you could always go to electrob.org or go to Rob for Lebanon Mayor's Facebook website. You could also always call me on my cell phone, 615-405-4342, and we could talk about anything, especially the Yankees.
You're not going to let go of them, that's for sure. Well, we thank you so much for being with us. A reminder, too, that early voting begins October 14th, goes through October 29th, and then, of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd. And Rob Cesternino, candidate for mayor, thank you for being with us this morning. We enjoyed this and appreciate having you.
Thank you very much, Coleman. Have a great day.
All right. Well, that is part one of Coleman and Company, and is presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They say, let's do great things together, and we hope you will do great things by staying with us for part two coming up here on FM 98.9.
And at 7:28, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental. They have quality tractor implements, including cutters, finish mowers, box blades, tillers, and more. 5-year gearbox warranty, extremely durable and well-built. Land Pride, Absolute Kubota and Rental, 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still quite a bit of traffic volume out here on Vietnam Vets coming through Hendersonville as they wrap up that crash at Jefferson Street at 4th, 6400 block at Eaton's Creek there in Jolton. That's an earlier wreck that you're trying to move out of your way as we speak. Hey, sleeping with the sharks in a grown-up atmosphere at Sips and Sharks, the 26 Ripley's Aquarium. For more information, just call 888-240-1358. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Vanderbilt Health is honored to announce the newest addition to our family of hospitals, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital in Lebanon. This hospital will provide care for Wilson County residents with the goal of improving the health and well-being of our newest community. Hospitals are for healing, new life, and recovery. They're places of innovation and learning. At the end of the day, hospitals are all about one thing: community. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Let's do great things together.
Hello, Patriots. To get all the best Trump gear and more, stop by the Wilson County Republican headquarters located at 11320 Lebanon Road in Mount Juliet. Also join us for our monthly meetings held on the second Saturday of every month at 9 a.m. at Music City Baptist Church located at 7104 Lebanon Road in Mount Juliet. On behalf of the Wilson County GOP, God bless Tennessee and God bless America.
WANT is proud to announce the return of the Fakes and Hooker Scoreboard Show. Every Friday night, we will bring you local scores and interviews with Wilson County coaches directly after the LHS football game. The 2020 Scoreboard Show is brought to you by Fakes and Hooker, Burdine Supply, Designer's Carpet, Kitty Salas and the hometown team of Keller Williams, Lebanon Appliance, Minchie's Landscape, Palometto's Insurance, and Sammy B's Restaurant. That's every Friday night after the LHS football broadcast, right here on WANT 98.9, Wilson County's own radio.
Today's skies will be a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures this afternoon will climb into the mid-70s. On Wednesday, highs will top out in the low 70s under mostly cloudy skies. A few scattered showers are possible on Wednesday, especially Wednesday night. For Thursday, rain is likely with highs in the 70s. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company here on a Tuesday morning. Welcome to part two. John Dozier's here. Enough said, I guess. Sean, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman. It's great to be here.
Well, it's always great to have Mike Jennings walk in, and we wait for the on-the-air light to come on and talk about whatever we want, don't we?
It's great.
Yeah.
First day of fall, and
1 hour,
like
about 1 hour about 1 hour from now, it will officially be fall.
Well, we talk about sports before we go on air. In your vast radio career, did you call like games, or did you ever do sports talk?
I don't know what this is really about me, but yes, I tried to.
Which one did you do?
Well, I've done a little football, a little basketball, and a little baseball.
Was it Lebanon?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we did some Little League games years ago. Yeah. I got to broadcast one from Sulphur-Dell when our All-Stars played down there one time. Yeah, I did. Wow. And but I did a little Watertown football and tape it and play it back the next morning, and some basketball for Cumberland usually. I don't know if they ever did a Lebanon game, probably not.
Well,
I
was love sports.
Well, I was a sports sub back in my early days.
You weren't the Tommy Bryan of the day.
No, early '60s. I would just, I guess I did okay.
So you called a game at Sulphur-Dell.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
But I didn't get to sit in the same side of the press box as Larry Munson at all. It was the other side.
I was wondering if you were in the press box.
Well, we better talk about Hearthside this morning. You're the executive director, and Hearthside is a retirement and assisted living community that's probably second to none.
It is. I was there this morning, and we did a fire drill this morning, Coleman. I'm not the most popular person when we have to do a fire drill early in the morning, so they were kind of down on me this morning, but they're up and at them this morning.
Has that got to be a secret? I mean, to be a official fire,
yes,
nobody's supposed to know except
absolutely
you
not.
and 2 or 3 others.
I show up and I pull it and see if they can get out in 13 minutes. And they do great. They do great, and we do one once a month, but every 3 months we have to do one early or late. So usually they like it early because some of them are up. They like to get up early. But anyway, they're doing great. Our assisted living is I call it a great tradition. It's been around since 1994. Served thousands of people through the years, and our staff has been fantastic these last few months dealing with this COVID-19, and our residents have been great, and our families have been patient with us, and things are slowly starting to open back up. October 1st, we're able to have limited visitation in the building, which is going to be fantastic for our residents. And
you got to be even more careful.
We got to be more careful now. If we go back, if we have a case, if we have one case, of course, we have to shut down for 14 days, and then we can go back. So it's going to be a trial run here for the next couple of months until we have a vaccine, so hopefully we can manage not to have any cases. But we've got a plan in place, and things are going well. And I'm excited about October 1st. Hopefully we can allow more families in, wear their masks 6 feet apart, and I think it's going to be really good for the residents.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we have noticed, a lot of us older people do have some underlying health conditions, and if you get COVID in that, it just seems to be so much worse.
It really does. It really does. I mean, you've seen some big problems in nursing homes and some assisted livings. Mostly it's been in nursing homes, but we've been fortunate that we haven't had an outbreak or anything like that. But we continue to use all precautions. Our staff's doing great. They take their temperatures, they wash their hands, they wear their masks, they do all the things that they need to do, and I really appreciate that, and I know our families appreciate that. If I could turn the page to our retirement community, we have 30 homes down in our independent retirement community, and all those right now are currently under contract and are sold, and we're excited about that. Our clubhouse is being used more now for activities and family events, so things are going well down there as well. We're continuing to do tours for our retirement community, and we're also doing limited tours for our assisted living now as well. So if you're interested in a retirement home, or if you're interested in a room in the assisted living, call us at 615-443-1994, or they can visit our website at hearthsideliving.org or our Facebook page, or they can call me and we'll be glad to set up a tour.
All right, that is great, and it is time. But the last thing we do each Tuesday, or just
it's
about
a tradition,
the last thing,
It's
a Hearthside. Hello.
Well, I toured 911 last Thursday, and Karen Moore said she listened to us on the radio. I don't know if I'm sure she's been on here several times.
Oh,
but,
yes.
She showed us all the things that they do down there. The ladies are fantastic. A lot of times we think about the EMS drivers, we think about the fire, we think about, police, which we certainly need to. But we oftentimes forget about the folks at 911, and they do a great job.
I think Karen Moore is a super person.
She is. She was very nice, very nice,
really,
and runs a good ship there.
Well, Hearthside, hello to Karen Moore, 911.
Thank you.
Are you through?
I'm through. Have a good week.
Well, I just thought of something.
What?
I said I'm not sure I'd ever done a Lebanon. Yes, I did do a Lebanon game by myself one time, and it was over at Las Casas. And Campbell Brandon was the coach at Las Casas. That was before he came to Lebanon. I was sitting here thinking about that while you were talking, and where I had to sit to do the game was way up somewhere on top of it. Was out of the way place.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a big gym, and you had to improvise.
Well, I
But
love
anyway.
stories like that, especially knowing now that you called a game at Sulphur Dell. That is really great. Coleman. I'm serious, Mike. Don't you agree?
Oh, I agree.
That is a great.
I'm old enough to remember.
That is great history. Thank you, Coleman. Have a good week.
All right, you too. And that is Sean Dozier. He is Executive Director of Hearthside Senior Living. We are 21 before the hour, and Mike Jennings is here. Your mic wasn't on. Part of that got out, part didn't.
That's probably good.
Well, you sometimes come in and you move things around, get
I
them
do.
fixed, and get your Dr. Pepper in the
I
right
do.
place.
Yeah,
and I don't
I
have
do.
the
I
mic on
have-
for that reason.
Have to make myself at home.
Anyway.
I'll give Sean and them some free publicity. I was just thinking the other day, I got to call somebody. And you know how it is, you don't want to look up the number, and you just think of a number, and I thought, 615-443-1994. And I'm thinking, that's not it. But where have I heard that? And I've heard him say it so many Tuesdays, you know.
Right. We had a county commission meeting last night, didn't we?
We did.
All right, we're going to get to that. But I got to talk about my Reds for a minute this morning. Man, I have given up on them 2 or 3 times this year. So disgusted. One time, I think the Cardinals beat them 12-2 or something like that. Some enormous, outrageous score. And I'm thinking, you can't, like Harville used to say, they can't even pitch it up and hit it. But they have come back and have won 9 out of the last 11 games. And Sonny Gray is from Smyrna. He is on the Reds team this year. He's supposed to pitch tonight. They're playing Milwaukee in Cincinnati. They won 6-3 last night. And they're just a few percentage points behind the Cardinals for second place in the National League. It looks like the Cubs are going to win it, but they hadn't won it yet. If the Reds won out and the Cubs lost out, the Reds could even win the championship.
Well,
Would
it's
you
not,
believe that?
it's a nice
But
time
it's
of year
not
to
gonna happen,
it's the right time of year to be getting hot. And for 9 out of
you bet.
11, it's the right time of year.
And the catcher who used to play at Vanderbilt hit a home run last night, which I always enjoy.
I'm sure you do.
And
yeah.
the pitching coach for the Reds used to be the pitching coach at Vanderbilt.
And they're still winning, aren't they?
And Sonny Gray.
I'm messing with
you. Oh, now I know, but they could just as easily go on a losing streak and be gone. It is so tight.
Yeah.
I think they're only 4.5 out of first place. They've got 5 games left, 2 with Milwaukee, and then they got to go to Minnesota and play 3.
The regular season ends Sunday.
Regular season ends Sunday, right? The Braves, which you like, they're in first place. They're going to probably be the number 2 or 3, probably number 3 team off the 8 that make it to the playoffs.
Well, you're talking about baseball scores. You know, they won a game a week or 10 days ago, 29-2, and then 3 nights later lose 15-1.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Baseball.
It is.
Well, a little football here before we get to last night's meeting. I understand you're trying to go to South Carolina.
Yeah, we're going to head over that way Saturday morning or sometime in time to get to the game, hopefully. And looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing UT play if they can stay healthy and I can get a ticket.
And as I was telling, somebody yesterday, every time I look, it seems like they've jumped up in the ratings.
We've done a lot better not playing than we ever did playing. We started out at number 25 and didn't play a game, and the next week we're number 15, and I'm thinking, by the time we play our first game, we could be in the top 5.
And if that's a coach's poll, I honestly put a little more into a coach's poll than I do where you got a bunch of AP writers or something.
I do too. Although I know there's some prejudices there. There's some coaches that don't like each other. And, they say it's not, but I've heard coaches say that.
Wonder what Saban thinks about UT. If they're ranking.
I don't. Well, he's got to be sort of like John Wooden. I think proud of the people that have come out of his staff that have gone on to be head coaches, and 2 of them. I think there's 2, maybe there's more in the SEC. That's kind of the pinnacle of your profession in college football.
Yeah.
In the SEC, so. Big Ten folks won't like that, but they're late to the game. take a shot. I might as well make everybody mad while I'm on here this morning, I guess.
I wonder if the jawboning of the president had anything to do with Big
Well,
T.
he says it does, of course. I doubt he had anything to do with it. But, you know, I imagine it was the coaches saying, do you understand that we're not going to be able to recruit when we go out to recruit and say, please come up here and play? And they said, why should I come up there? Because y'all don't play.
Good
I mean,
point.
they had to play. I mean, the president will take credit for it, but that's...
Nearly time for us to take a break. What'd y'all do last night?
We did a lot. We had a 2-hour and 1-minute meeting, and we elected budget committee members and finance committee members and went through about 16 resolutions and honored some people and had a little bit of everything last night.
Yeah. You met at the courthouse?
We did.
How many were there?
Everybody was there except one commissioner who I think was not able to come because of a family situation. So I'm not sure about that, but anyway, he joined us remotely, so we had a full house.
Who was that?
There's Commissioner Robert Fields from the 1st District.
Okay, all right.
And so, he joined us remotely and participated the entire meeting.
I think we need to talk just a little longer here.
Okay, we can do that. Imagine that.
We're waiting for MJ to get ready for us to do a break here. But is there the unity still, or the?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and and last night you had an opportunity to have some spats because you had elections where people kind of trade out for positions, votes for positions, but it went very well. And I'll throw one in here that a lot of people are going to know about, but we honored Ruth Correll last night on her retirement.
Oh, great!
And
great.
They had a nice resolution for her, and then she made a very nice parting speech, let's say, or as she called it, her final report.
Yeah.
And she did a very good job. Ruth's meant a lot to a lot of people, a lot of farmers, a lot of 4-H people, a lot of agricultural people.
Ruth has been really good to work with. When I started this program, when Susie got me to sit here for an hour each day back in 1993,
last century,
one of the first things I did was, having remembered how we had the county agent on once a week years ago for 15 minutes in a farm program. That's the old WCOR. But I thought it would be good to have somebody from the UT Extension office, and we have had them. And Ruth has filled in. She's been very great to work with, and every once in a great while we maybe need to move it to another time, and she's always very cooperative. I appreciate her a lot.
Yeah, and she got like 3 or 4 standing ovations last night during the thing. Probably a record from when I've been there. But you don't find anybody that doesn't appreciate the work she does, and that entire staff out there. She gave a lot of credit and comments about her staff, but the staff does what the leader does.
She's going to enjoy retirement.
Yeah, but she doesn't strike me as being one that'll stay retired. She'll be busy doing something.
Mike Jennings is my guest, our county attorney. We'll talk more after this break. You're on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $49.95, 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1673 West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still quite a bit of traffic volume out here on Vietnam. Vets coming through Hendersonville as they wrap up that crash at Jefferson Street at 4th, 6400 block of Edens Creek there in Jolton. That's an earlier wreck that they're trying to move out of your way as we speak. Hey, sleeping with the sharks in a grown-up atmosphere at Sips and Sharks, the 26 Ripley's Aquarium. For more information, just call 888-240-1358. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
Lebanon High School football is live this season on WANT and WCOR. Join Tommy Bryan and the crew with all of the action brought to you by Bates Ford, Cedar Recovery of Middle Tennessee, the law firm of Clemens & Clemens, D.T. McCall & Sons, Fakes and Hooker Lumber, Sheriff Robert Bryan, Lebanon Police Chief Mike Justice, and Wilson Bank and Trust. Lebanon High School football Friday night starting with the pregame show at 6:30 on WANT FM 98.9 and WCOR AM 1490.
Company, it is a Tuesday morning. Mike Jennings is here. I didn't give you really a proper introduction earlier, but you are county mayor.
County attorney.
Yeah,
I got all I do. Yeah.
County attorney Mike Jennings, and is also the mayor of Watertown. And if we have time this morning, we'll find out what's happening in Watertown as well. But you did say you had a rather lengthy meeting, 2 hours?
We did. Longest meeting we've had in a while. And I was thinking back on it last night. That's not unusual for September because we have all these elections.
Yeah.
We elect our budget committee every September, finance. And then we had several other committees that the mayor appoints and they confirm. And we had a couple of positions on boards that had to be done. We had, and we also had former Representative Charlie Curtis, who is now the head of the Tennessee County Commissioners Association, come up and talk to us last night. And so it was about 8 o'clock before we got into our regular course of business. We were doing some honoring people. We also honored New Leash on Life last night in Angela Chapman. I didn't realize until they sent me some information and asked me to draft a resolution what all they had done during the post-tornado time and the COVID-19, when, you know, we all think about people in their housing and all that stuff, but people so many times, as they said last night, think about their pets.
Yeah.
You know, and so they stepped in and did a really good job of providing, I think they call it the paw pantry, you know, where they provided dog and cat food to people that you know, during COVID,
right.
one or more of the breadwinners may have lost their job. So they honored them last night, and then we got into the meat of the resolutions and pretty much typical stuff.
Well, do you have? I'm kind of interested who's going to be on what committee.
Yeah, I can tell you on the budget committee there was no change. Annette Stafford, William Glover, Tommy Jones, and Wendell Marlowe. And I'm sorry I didn't say Commissioner in front of him, but I've been around so much I just call them by first names, and maybe that doesn't sound good professionally, but. And then Robert Fields was nominated as well, and Robert got 14 votes, but the others got 23, 22, 16, and 19. And then on the finance committee.
Okay, so it's good. Annette Stafford and who else?
Annette Stafford, William
Hey,
Glover.
you're getting away from my mind.
I'm out. See, that's why you don't want me in here too often. Annette Stafford, William Glover, Tommy Jones, and Wendell Marlowe.
And that's the four who
they're on there now.
Right. Okay.
And then the finance committee, and I'm sorry to say I can't remember who was on there, but I think we may have had one or two changes here. Not sure. But the four that got elected last night was Commissioner John Gentry, and I know he was on there. Commissioner Diane Weathers has been on there, and she got reelected. And then the other two were Commissioner Justin Smith and Commissioner Lauren Breeze. So we had 6 nominees for that. Only 4 could be elected.
All right.
So those two were what's really considered the big committees. And then we had reappointments to the Animal Control Committee, reappointments to the Ethics Committee, and what am I forgetting? Well, we reelected the county mayor as commission chairperson, and Wendell Marlowe as commission chairperson pro tem. And that steps in if the mayor can't. That's kind of like being runner-up for Miss America, you know?
Of all the times that you've been county attorney, the mayor has been the one to do the meeting, except maybe for one time, right?
One time, and that was they elected Commissioner Bill Arnold. And so Randall got reelected last night, and then we had reappointments to the Water and Wastewater Authority. That's Zendel Murphy, and the Sports Authority. That is Veronica Bender, who is taking the rest of the term of the late Jimmy Tate. Jimmy, you remember Jimmy was a commissioner. For me, a big UT fan, and
big Mount Juliet guy.
He was. He was a
guy.
Yeah, he was. Jimmy was a homer. He's from Mount Juliet now, and So she was elected to take his place. I hadn't seen Jimmy in a while. I missed Jimmy. I had the opportunity to serve with him, and he was always a positive type fella. You know, he was just positive, and I like people like that.
Anything? You moved some money around, didn't you?
We did several things for WEMA. You know, some of the money now that we're spending on that we have spent on COVID and the tornadoes beginning to come back into us, so we're putting it back into the budget. We appropriated our final payment on the Highland Heights Church property. We appropriated $50,000 to New Lease on Life. We did $50,000 a year for them for 3 years, and they had an option to come back for a fourth and additional years. But they couldn't because of COVID-19 and the status quo budget. So we approved that last night for them of $50,000 for this year, and they do spay and neutering from that.
Right.
We approved going into being a member of a couple of buying cooperatives that the comptroller now allows that will never show up anywhere but in the budget, you know, where we may save a few bucks here by buying through a buying cooperative. And it seems like there was a couple other things, but I can't remember. It's pretty standard stuff.
And it sounded like a fairly harmonious meeting, too.
It was. And, you know, it was one of those I can tell from sitting up there and being able to look out when they're ready to go, and they were ready to go at 9 o'clock. You know, that's, you sit there and be attentive and no breaks and stuff. That's pretty, and after most of them have worked a full day, that's a long day for them.
What's coming up next?
You know, I'm not real sure what's coming up in October, but I think the big project now that's back on the table and I believe will happen is the jail addition. The Law Enforcement Committee has already approved the draft of the plans and the proposed timeline. Public Works Committee is going to get it tonight at 5 o'clock, and I suspect it'll go to budget October the 8th, and I suspect it'll be bid sometime during the month of October. So it's moving. It's back on the table. You know, we'll take it off.
You're not the finance director, but do you have any idea how much money we're talking about here?
Well, you know, we had hoped, and I say we, I'm repeating what people had said. When we bid it last time, you know, we bid it once before, we had hoped for $40 million. It came in at $50 million. So they have not scaled down the building, but they have cut some square footage out where they could. You know, the cells have got to be a certain size. They have done some things that they think the economy of scale will help them. And the question I heard, the comment I heard the other night was, again, they think 40 to 42 million, hopefully. One of the things is that I've heard somebody say the other night that there will be more bidders this time. Last time we only got one bidder. So hope, you know, that'll generally work in your favor.
What are the chances it could be a little bit less than that? If this figure gets out and then the bidders know this.
Yeah. Well, and I'm always a little hesitant to say that, as are a lot of people. But on the other hand, you know, somebody will ask the question, and it has to be said, and it goes in the minutes, and it becomes public. But I wouldn't bank on that with saying, well, I can bid $40 million and get it, because somebody else may bid $39,500,000. And what you thought when you thought you had $40 million, now you got, as Jethro used to say, naught. You know.
Well, where's that money coming from?
Adequate facilities tax is what I was told last week. That it's building up, and you know, obviously that'll benefit everybody in the county from having a jail, because it serves everybody in the county.
Yeah. Okay. We've got about 3.5 minutes left. Can we turn to Watertown for a minute? Your football team's doing pretty well.
They are doing very well, and they're pretty exciting to watch. We've got some.
Well, they lost one game.
Lost one game to a larger school, to Nolensville, and we were in that game. Had a chance to win it. We a couple of times didn't perform, and they did, and that's usually the difference in a close game. We go to White House this Friday, which is another bigger school.
Yeah.
So they'll be in for a they're in for a fight every Friday night, but they're pretty good.
Have you heard about, Susie just told me this yesterday, what's happened with Lebanon this week?
No.
They can't play beach, as I understand it.
Okay.
I think it's because of COVID, but however, they can't play beach, but they've moved the game to Saturday afternoon.
Well, that's all right.
And was it Fairview, I think?
I did hear something about that. I didn't pick up on the Saturday afternoon.
Well, I interrupted. Tell us what else happening in Watertown here.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure that we've got a very good girls volleyball team. Ladies, I guess I should say. We've been to the state tournament the last 2 years, and I've been jokingly telling their coach, who's one of my city council members, I'm expecting another state tournament bid, and she hadn't flinched. You know how coaches sometimes say, well, she hadn't said we're going, but she hadn't flinched either. And we had a council meeting last week, and COVID has presented some challenges for us. Coleman, we have kept the city hall closed, and we have done our meetings. We have offered the opportunity to do them remotely, and one or two commissioners, council people have done that. We have kept the public out, and I don't like that, but I have such a small staff that if one of them gets this stuff, we may have to shut down at least portions of the city. You know, I've got two ladies that work in the city hall. If one of them gets it, the other one's got a quarantine. Now who's going to take up your water bill? Who's going to collect your taxes? Same thing, I got 4 people that work on the streets. If one of them gets it, you know, I got to shut that down. So we've been very protective, and I hope that we are approaching the days we can get past that, but I'm not going to overreact. If we need to keep it closed for a while, we will, because I got to keep these people healthy. I got to.
Got to make good decisions the best you can.
Best you can, and, you know, let the armchair quarterbacking begin. And
you're running for re-election.
I did.
Unopposed.
I did run for re-election, and I'm thankful that it's unopposed. As I tell people, there's no opposition on the ballot. Anyway, let me put it that way. Maybe some out in the public. But
one thing is amused me, one of the most things about you, of course, you've got a pretty good sense of humor anyway, but you don't get paid. Neither do the people on your council, the aldermen, whatever you call them. But everybody gives of their time, which says a lot for Watertown, I think. But you have joked that you get paid what you're worth.
Yeah, I'm the only mayor in the state of Tennessee getting paid what he's worth. And that's nothing.
But you've got a lot to be proud of. There's a heritage there, and there are challenges, of course, but Watertown is...
Yeah, there are, and we are really seeing some challenges on a smaller scale that have developed over the county with growth. And as we knew, Coleman, as we felt like 5 or 6 years ago, the new high school would be the driver, and it has been.
Yeah.
And we're now beginning to have some very smaller industries or businesses begin to locate in Watertown. So
watch out for more growth.
Yeah, and we're, you know, we got a couple of things. We got a big sewer project that I felt like I had to complete. You know, it started, and I just felt obligated to. And then this turntable project, I want to get that going, and I want to see that steam engine come into Watertown.
Right. Mike Jennings, thanks for being with us. Hopefully we'll see you next month.
I hope so.
All right, that's it for a Tuesday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a terrific day.